Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back to Anno Pax, and we continue right away with my Celtic town in Albion. That is the natural Celtic town that we have, right? So with the Smiths right now, and I would like to also advance to new shores here, quite literally too, but also, well, when it comes to the population tier, because right now we do have the Romanized Celts over here in Verulamium. And in this case here, this looks fine, right? But it's pretty similar to my Latium town, that is. But the natural Celts, they look way more different. And the Alderments that we're going to have are going to be even more different. So while we enjoy the graphics here, let's have a quick look at their demands. Because they're numerous and quite hard to achieve, honestly. Because the hardest one here is the Drinking Horn. And the Drinking Horn would be my go-to here. Because the Clan Shield is even more difficult. Look at that. The difference between the two production chains is quite massive in my opinion, as the shields need a lot more input than the Drinking Horns. On the other hand though, the Clan Shields don't really provide a better bonus, quite the contrary. I think the Drinking Horn bonus is much better, whereas the Clan Shields is kind of like a gimmick. So you definitely should go for the Drinking Horn in this case. However, the Drinking Horn requires tin, and tin is something that we don't have. Like, I don't have it on this island, I don't have it on this island, I don't even have it on my third island, and tin poses a problem to me. All the other islands are settled at this point, so unless I go to full-scale war with one of them, we have a bit of a problem. And even this Aether guy, for example, right, so Rob Stark, he does not have a tin island either. Tin is extremely rare at this point. There's no tin here. Where do we have tin, in fact? This is an island with tin. It's one of the few islands. In fact, it's one of 2 islands only in Albion that have tin at this point. So good for her that she snagged it. We do have trade rights with her, so perhaps she is inclined to sell tin. She's not. There is another possibility that we can consider, and that is all the way here in my trading post, activating passive trade for my island. And we'll just see if this is something that will work out for us. And let's say 50 tons is the maximum that I want to go for. And to speed things up, I could also implement the passive trade for tin in my capital, in Verulamium. Right over here, I would also like to say buy tin of 50 tons. Right? And then we could have a trade route getting the tin over. That might be one of the options we have. But we'll just need to see how much tin there really is coming in. Let's go, sorry, let's actually take my flagship here. Oh, it's not my flagship, smaller ship, but I'm gonna take this one regardless, and I'm gonna get me some timber and also some tiles, and we're gonna get this over here to Natrixia, my third island we have, because Natrixia also has something pretty rare, and that is the copper. And the copper is on this island in 6 mountainsides, which is a lot. By the way, a really cool looking island, lots of marshes that we could drain, so this island is much bigger than it looks at first. And over here I would like to start a small settlement, and I would like to start also mining some copper. Verulamium, we're gonna pay for this, as it's nothing. We're looking at 1.3 million denarii right now, so I'm happy with how this goes. Next we have the traders. I could also have a look at them, what they offer for us, or if they offer any specialty item that would give me something. But I don't think this game has anything like fertility coming in, right? So like in Anno 1800 where you can add fertility with items. I don't think this is in Pax. So we need to tone our expectations for what these 2 guys here offer me. This one's primarily into captains and warfare stuff, shoot chain productivity boost, but that's about it. Alright, so we do work now on that island with the copper. This brings me to my next issue that we have right now. No, it's not the rituals, that's just another building we need to plop down, but it's that we need to have at least the trousers or the torques working here. And both of them, well, pose a challenge to me again, because the trousers need dye fertility, and guess what? We don't have any dye fertility on any of the islands right now. That's great stuff. So let's have a look at the torque. The torque needs copper. Now copper, we have it on this island. So Natrixia here is the island that might be my saver. And we need to get more materials over there because I really want to start something. I'm also inclined to buy a ship, and that's this trireme. I think they have a different skin than the ones that you can build yourself. And with this one here, 4 slots, that's a lot. We can also start then some trade routes that we're gonna need for all of this. And while we're at it, let's also reinforce my shoes. We do have that here, so that's my reed gatherers. Do we have really not enough reed production right now? Because usually we have, and we even have a ton. But I would still like to go ahead and push this again. For this, I will need to get rid of the eel grabber there again. Moving it a bit further over there. 100% remains, and there's then the warehouse connection. Oh, wait a second. Yeah. Warehouse connection. And then I can go with another reed gatherer right here along the quay we have there. The boardwalk, that is. And in that case, we need the reed shoes, and they give me a nice happiness boost, so let's still use that bonus. They're producing though only every 2 minutes, which is incredible for such a cheap product. But here we are. Now let's have another one here. This one might not have a warehouse close by, if I'm reading this correctly. That symbol, unfortunately, it takes quite some time for popping, but yeah, it does not have one. So let's get me one over here, a bit further away. And look at that, because, well, passive trading in this game is really powerful. We already have 50 tons of tin ore in. Didn't even take me 3 minutes, I think, before the goods are coming in. And that is to the maximum amount, right? And I'm pretty sure, yes, we also have now the 50 tons of tin in here. So I have already another playthrough idea, and that would be a trade republic. We don't have the docklands anymore, but I think the passive trade is pretty close to it, because the prices are not that bad for importing stuff and exporting stuff. We can also see this down here, and this is also very important, and that is the purchasing price or the selling price of these goods. So, for example, for the tin, we need to pay 4 coin, right? But the drinking horns that we can produce with that would be 24 tons, 24 coin per item. And when we look at the production chain for this one, we can see that the Horner only cost me 15 coin in maintenance. So it would be very feasible to get a surplus production of this going and export then the drinking horns, because we only really need, yeah, let's say 3-4 tons in Colfern, and the rest we could sell. There is an opportunity for us to make a bit of money. Alright, we are here. We do have some materials now. I would definitely like to make a sluice gate over here. Go ahead and do this. And start with some draining. And we do have 40 tiles, okay. God. It's pretty expensive, that one. There you go. We could still drain a bit more, but this should lead to a nicer looking town. And then we're just going up here on that mountain to my mountain sides that we have up there, and there might even be room, yeah, for charcoal burner or something like that, because let's face it, we have a lot of trees here. Now the real problem though will be tier 2 workforce, because for the copper mines we do need the smiths, in fact, right? And it needs to be the smiths, by the way. So if I go with the Mercator, so the Roman tier 2, that is a different workforce. So you need to make sure that you're using the right tier, right population tier here for all of this. We have the warehouse. Let's actually start with a smaller human production. I love how different all these islands look. Beautiful with that huge mountain there. And you can also see beautiful reflection effects in the PC version there. Fantastic. Another thing we could do, and that is something I've been thinking about, we could also start importing timber here and save us this production, right? So I can buy this one up to 200 tons, and let's just see how long it takes before we have that in. Oh, okay, they're abandoning me now. But look how many traders there are, right? They're piling up here to trade with me. And there we have it. 112 tiles. That's how fast passive trading is. So let's go ahead and build us some blocks of houses here in the swamps right away. And probably... I like that one here, by the way. We should be able to do this. There you go. A little bridge just for this house. And then here... we definitely will need some service buildings. Centrally as possible. Like a market and a bard hut. Going over there. And then around here again. This looks so beautiful. I just love the drain swamps. And of course, the primary goal here is workforce. I could then have one going up here. And then we just have some more buildings. Fantastic. Let's have a look down there.
What's the crack, lad?
Fire has started in your city.
And of course, we're gonna need some kind of production here, so I'm inclined to go with a warehouse over here, just by the mountainsides. Right, probably gonna make then this road here along the swamp, going over here to these mountains, and then making a connection here with that, so that we have a bit of room here to work with some eel grabbers, what we're gonna need. There you go. And this gives me some room here to also drain this area, because there is another marsh slot available. Just in case. You know, just in case we want to keep the expansion going. Another festival in Veneta. I always want to have a festival in Veneta. Gives me the happiness and prestige boost. We already have a festival there, the Festival of the Games. So I'm gonna postpone this one here, because the Festival of the Games are more powerful. I really like this town, honestly. Natrixia. Cute looking. And we might even have then a road extending over there, and then have some smaller ornaments here. Something that fits my Celts. A Celtic obelisk.
You're trying to tell me the common scene is less all this? Can't be that bad, so.
And I might go with just some grass here that we can have. And shortly after we can upgrade. And of course we need to make sure that we take the smiths for this one. And then we can have them here in the town center. And for some reasons it was not going for that. Come on. There you go. Some timber wasted, but that's it. And there we get them. And here are a few more. Right, and this block here probably to do the trick nicely. And with that, by the way, I can stop the passive trading because it's getting we're getting really full on those things here. And now I can start with the copper production. And the copper is, well, actually quite fast, right? 2 tons per minute. So 2 of them should already be quite sufficient for a bigger town. To get me all of that in. And let's also upgrade that warehouse because there's quite the production around that. There is no, as far as I know, Celtic warehouse skin, right? Perhaps in the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately not, as far as I can see. So there's the moss-ridden residence that we have. And there's also the Bath Hearts moss-covered version, right? Let's go ahead and take this one and just see how it goes. So there's the cosmetic tool that we have available again. And that's the one. Looks much better than on the preview. Now the Pax Augusta will be on will be my trade route, so we can also quickly select it and take now Natrixia and Colfern, and we're gonna take all the beautiful copper that we are mining over there. Second one, thank you. There you go, and off it goes. And now back to Colfairn because, well, first of all, we do lack a bit of... Here. I don't think we can push them further, right? No, workforce-wise, we're pretty much at the end for these guys. So I might need to consider draining a bit more swamp over here to get my farms over. That would be the sensible thing to do. Let's take this sluice gate here and start draining it. Like so. Yeah. Good. And then we can take this. We do have the herb gardens here. We will definitely need another warehouse for this. And then I can have my productions here. So the wheat farms that we have for the bread production moving over here. And let's hope that we have enough space. I'm not gonna copy them because we do need to adjust their fields to this running area. That's a lot of space. This one. But it's working out. Right in here. Fantastic. With that we can get rid of these guys. Right? And boom! We have a new city district available for us. That I can have here.
There are signs of public unrest.
Probably like to have my warehouse a bit further down. Gonna be some overlap.
There are signs of public unrest.
There are always signs of public unrest. So I'm not too worried about this. Here we have a bit of a problem, so we're gonna make it like so. Perfect. This actually fits to the warehouse. Right? Then we can have some more. Oh, we have a bardic heart over there. So let's actually move the sawmill away. Get the bardic heart here and get rid of this one again. This should be fantastic. And then we got the recreation ground or the phantom. I don't think we have a phantom yet. Let's go ahead and get me a phantom here. This boosts my learning rating for the city. And that's really important. So, then another here. As we just want all that workforce. And for a growing city, I will also need some more eel pickers or eel grabbers. And we should be able... Yep, get this one. And 2 additional ones. You need to find a good balance here between marshland and drained areas for a city of that size. Now the copper is coming in, the coal production we have, so, well, I just need to build the production artisan building itself. We don't need 1 torque right now, so that leads me to, oh, 90 seconds, that's nasty. I need at least 2. Increasing my fire risk. I'm not a fan of this. So I'm trying to use them here. Let's upgrade that warehouse, and let's just check it out, what kind of production we have now. Slightly surplus. So I'm gonna go with a 3rd one, so that we have a bit of a buffer here to work with. And at the same time now, the drinking horns might be possible. We already have our ox farms here. For this, I would like to check out how much ox we produce. Not enough at the moment. So I'm considering adding me 1 more here. Very good. We can squeeze them in here nicely. To have, oh, this is not working. Here. And then another one. Probably. There you go. There we have a right production for this. And that's already it. We can already go ahead with the Horner now. Producing every 2 minutes and boosting income and happiness at the same time. So the perfect building once again to have in the city. In some locations that we still have available here. And let's go with 3. That should do just the job. Nice. We can also fortify our passive trade here, so we got a lot of cheese, and I could say sell any kind of public cheese, any kind of cheese until we reach, let's say 250, because we really don't need that much. We're still needing a lot of it, for the trade route to Veneta, right? So that's one of those things. Now that the torques are in, let's just check it out. The selling price of cheese is actually 19. It's more valuable than torques. And the drinking horns are the most valuable thing here. But that's a surprise to me how nice cheese sells, considering how easy it is to produce. The drinking horns we can also now sell, and we're just gonna say, okay, keep 10 tons, yeah, right? And that's it. We should be fine without that. There's already my first potential customer coming in, trading with me the tin and purchasing cheese and drinking horns. And yeah, he was getting 90 tons of cheese there for a couple of thousand denarii. Very good. Also very good, we can now go ahead with the aldermen. And of course, I would like to do this right here in the town center. And once again, the game really doesn't like me to go with aldermen, as it switches that around. There you go.
Uncivilized, they calls us. I'm plenty civil myself.
And this is now the tier 3 natural Celts that we have. They've got some really cute looking houses. I just really adore Albion. I more than I thought. More than I thought at first. But I'm really digging the art style. Let's have a few more upgrades here and a few more here. And yes, I know we're running out of workforce there again. That's the smith upgrade, so I would need to have a few waiters upgraded here. Get me my smith population in again. Alright, so the aldermen residents, there we have them. With that we get the alderman workforce now in. And with that, of course, a whole bunch of more demands. Primarily stuff that we already have, like the chariots or the fine glass. That's a surprise to me. They also have the barrow and the sacred grove as a new service building. The older council. They would also like to start with a bit of gambling. And the roast beef. On top of that, the alderman now has a new construction material, which is the concrete. Or granite, sorry, the granite cutter, in fact. And that needs to the smiths to really work. The workforce requirements are really high though, right? I'm still gonna go ahead and get me one, of course. That would be all the way up here in the mountains. We have one granite quarry that I can implement together with, oh yeah, 2 granite cutters I could get going here. Actually, let's get them over here. That's a bit better. And have the connection here. Since they're very slow with what they're doing, a bit of a longer distance is fine. The game also gives me a trade estimation of what we are making with our trade routes. And I think it's then broken down into a per minute ratio of what we do on average. And that's around 437 as a surplus. Another thing we can do is safely getting rid of this woodcutter here and of this woodcutter over there, as I really don't need that much timber anymore. And in this case, how much further can we move it? By the way, we should be able, yes, also of course we could move it up here in the swamp area. We have these tiny areas available, and look at that, 70%, that's better than nothing. Because I wouldn't really be sure what to do with the space otherwise. So let's get me this charcoal burner here. With this fertility rating, that's actually pretty neat. All the way out there. With at least 70% efficiency. Can we do the same thing over there? Here? 60, 70. There was 70 for once. There it is. It's not gonna be that much once you add the roads, of course. But it's better than nothing. And let's get rid of this. Here you go. And boom, we have a bit more space for city development. In that case, the main problem, of course, is that we are producing so much for Latium, right? We have a pretty hefty production going in this case. And it's still crazy that we can make all of this work and even satisfy the needs of my own population here with their own production chains. The primary boost that I'm looking forward to, though, is always population boost. So the recreation grounds unfortunately do not give me anything here. The bath hut, there's a bit of that over here. And then we have the tier 3 alderman now. That's the gambling house. That would be a nice population boost to the whole city. But it doesn't really fit in. course, with a growing town, we also need more service buildings. So one of them is the hospital again. So let's have a bigger block over there so we can squeeze one in. As my health is a bit problematic and now it's fine again. And for the city services, do not have any tiles for another firefighter. So this is something to work on as well. Also, how is it looking with the tin ore? Still almost capping it out with the passive trade. So there's no reason to really get a tin production going. And with enough waiters, I would also like to upgrade my people. I hate that. They really need to patch this one. Come on. He should save. He should remember what upgrade I chose last time. Otherwise, this is really messy in Albion especially. And yeah, with that, we are getting a positive smith workforce again. And I'm still considering now upgrading the roads to paved roads, but yeah, it looks very Roman then when you do that. By the way, we haven't chosen a god yet for Colfern, our natural Celtic town, and it should be, of course, a natural Celtic god. So we do have Cernunnos and we do have Epona. Both of them are really nice. So Cernunnos here offers the natural vigor bonus. Residences produce additional health and knowledge. On top of that, we do get everything boosted that has something to do, I guess, with wildlife and also some forestry over there. The wetland daub. Then we have the small birds effect and the beavers. And we got Epona here, improves the production of, ox. That is something we have a lot. And production buildings provide additional population. I like this more. Let's go ahead with Epona as my goddess. And this should, over time, lead to a nice population boost. Also, we get some fame points out of it. Very nice. And I'm hoping that we get the shrine. There it is. Oh, that's the shrine of Ceres. But we can still build this here. We have to Epona, and I can still build 3 shrines of Ceres. I would like to do this because it gives you a nice population boost, in fact. Yeah. I think right here, instead of those trees. Got so many trees. Oh, it's much bigger than I thought. We need to move this one over there. And then we can have this one here with some concrete again. But still. For Epona, I would love to get my own one. But we don't have one yet. I think we need to get the devotion up there first. It's climbing very rapidly. We already got the first Reigns of Prosperity bonus. And now we're working on the maximum shrine. Look at that. We already have unlocked some shrines. Why is it not Epona though? But why is it Ceres? Now with Epona though, my production of oxen went up quite a bit. At least that's a nice bonus. Ah, Shrine of Epona, there it is now. I wonder why it took so long, but now we can add it. Funnily enough, this needs concrete rather than granite. So I would have also thought that granite would make a bit more sense for this one, as concrete is something you need to import. But doesn't matter. Let's get her in. It's the head of a horse. I especially do like my population boost. Look at the waiter we get. Over 100 already. That's of course because every production building on this island provides population now too. Which is just really cool. I love this bonus from Epona. So for, I guess, a big city, I would like to go with Ceres. And for a production city, we could very well use Epona, as she's providing a huge bonus to a city this way. Let's have another one here for these. And then I think we can go... Oh, we can actually have up to 8 at this point, since the devotion level is climbing so rapidly. And then we can have another one here. And also we do have the Epona Festival roaming through the streets.
That's not Oppidum, but I'm not opposed to it.
Now with the older men, with the tier 3 Roman population in Albion and with the highest tier in Latium, I would like to conclude this let's play. It was a let's play that went from the preview version to the launch version of the game. There's been a lot of updates, there's been a lot of new ideas that I've gathered over time, and I think this is a safe area here now to stop this Let's Play, and of course to start a new one that will probably surprise you again with what this game offers. Yeah, it has a lot of beauty in it. I think for a launch title, it has a lot of content in it. And my final thought is that this is just a perfect entry to the Anno franchise. Considering the content, it's pretty much the same that we've had with Anno 1800 at release. The Latium, the main area for me, is, well, a bit smaller than in Anno 1800, right? Where you had 5 tiers at the beginning. This one has only 4 tiers. But you have 3 tiers now in Albion, where you only had 2 tiers in the New World, and on top of that you have 2 different type of populations with 2 different type of needs in Albion. So they shifted it a bit more towards 2 regions now instead of having 1 main region like in Anno 1800. I really enjoy it. I can't wait what this game will offer with all the DLCs that we're seeing, and also of course with all the mods that we're seeing, because there's already I think around 40 mods available on mod.io. Most of them are just rebalancing things, but I can't wait to see the first assets, the first new monuments that we get with all the experience this amazing Anno community already has in the modding area. And yeah, with that, let's happily look forward to what this game offers. This has been my first real Let's Play of the game. I hope you enjoyed this one. I very much enjoyed it. This game is really amazing despite some technical issues here or there. I would not be ready to downvote a tremendous project like this, because when's actually the time when you get a fully fledged out, full release Citybuilder these days? It's rare, and other studios also showed that it's no small feat to achieve something like that, and for this I'm very grateful to, yeah, Ubisoft Mainz especially, the studio that have been developing Anno for over a decade now, and I can't wait to see what else those jolly good people are getting out there. And with that, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this one, stay tuned.
In honor of our hard-working people, let the games commence.